Mama Dorcas was the landlady of a small company busy street in Lagos. The compound had 8 small rooms that faced each other with a narrow corridor in the middle. Many people lived there, young workers, traders, and students who couldn't afford expensive houses. To everyone, Mama Dorcas looked like a very kind woman. Every morning she stood in the compound greeting her tenants. "Good morning, my children," she would say with a bright smile. Sometimes she cooked soup and gave a little to some tenants. Sometimes she helped carry water or greeted visitors politely. Because of this, everyone believed she had a good heart. But nobody knew the truth. Behind her friendly smile was a dark secret. Mama Dorcas was not the kind of woman people thought she was. She secretly visited a native shrine outside the town. A wicked native daughter had told her something many years ago. If you want wealth and power, the native daughter said, you must collect things that belongs to people. Their slippers, their clothes, anything that carries their life. Bring them to me. Since that day, Mama Dorcas began to trouble things. She pretends to love her tenants, but at night she used their belongings for evil. One evening, a lady named Amaka returned from work. She was tired and quickly removed her slippers at the door of her room in the corridor. "I will pick them up in the morning," she said to herself. Before going inside, the compound soon became quiet. One by one, the lights in the rooms went off. Everyone slept peacefully. Around midnight, Mama Dorcas slowly opened her door. She looked left. She looked right. The compound was silent. She quietly walked to Amaka's door. The slippers were still there. Mama Dorcas bent down slowly and picked them up. She placed them inside a black nylon bag she carried. Her face showed no pity. Then she quietly walked back to her room as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Amaka came outside looking confused. "My slippers were here yesterday," she said loudly. "Where did they go?" Some tenants came outside. "Maybe a thief entered the compound," one man said. Mama Dorcas came out of her room pretending to be surprised. "Ah, that is terrible," she said, shaking her head. "Nobody will steal slippers here." Amaka searched everywhere but never found them. Days passed. Then another strange thing happened. One woman in the compound washed her beautiful clothes and hung it on the wire outside the compound to dry. That night, the compound became quiet again. Around midnight, Madame Dorcas came out slowly with a small black nylon bag. She walked to the wire and looked around carefully. Then she removed the cloth from the wire. She folded it and put it inside her black nylon bag. Again, she returned quietly to her room. The next morning, the owner of the cloth screamed in frustration. "My clothes are missing," the lady screamed. The tenants gathered again. "I hung it here yesterday," she cried. Mama Dorcas came outside with a worried face. "This is very bad," she said. "Someone must be in this compound stealing." But nobody knew that the thief was standing right in front of them. Weeks turned into months. More strange things began to happen. A hairpiece disappeared. A scarf disappeared. A pair of sandals disappeared. Some tenants began to complain that their lives were suddenly becoming difficult. One man lost his job. Another woman started having strange sickness. Amaka began having terrible nightmares, but nobody connected the problem to Mama Dorcas. Then one day, a tenant came to the compound. He was a quiet man called Pastor Dane. He rented a small room at the back of the compound. He was humble and friendly. He greeted everyone politely. "Good evening," he would say gently. But Pastor Dane noticed something strange about the compound. Many tenants looked unhappy and tired. One night, he heard two women talking. "This compound is not normal," one woman whispered. "Since I moved in, my life has been full of troubles." The other woman replied sadly. Pastor Daniel did not say anything, but he began to pray quietly every night in his room. Days passed. One night around 1 a.m., Pastor Daniel suddenly woke up. He heard soft footsteps outside. At first he ignored it, but sound came again. He slowly stood up and looked through his window. What he saw shocked him. Mama Dorcas was walking slowly through the compound with a black nylon bag. She stopped in front of a tenant's door. There was a pair of slippers in the corridor. She bent down and picked them. Then she walked towards the clothesline and removed a cloth hanging there. Pastor Daniel immediately stood there and he said, "Something is not normal." His heart became heavy. He quietly stepped outside. Mama Dorcas froze when he saw him. Before she could say anything, Pastor Daniel lifted his hands and began to pray loudly. "Every evil work in this compound be destroyed in the name of Jesus." His voice echoed through the compound. Mama Dorcas began to tremble. Pastor Daniel prayed loud. "Every hidden darkness be exposed tonight." The noise woke the neighbors. Doors began to open one by one. "What is happening?" someone asked. Soon, many tenants gathered in the corridor. Then, they saw Madam Dorcas standing there with a black nylon bag. Pastor Daniel pointed at the bag. "Open it," he said. Mama Dorcas shook her head. "I don't understand," she stammered. But one of the tenants quickly grabbed the bag. When he poured the contents on the ground, everyone shouted. The floor was full of different items: slippers, clothes, hairpins, scarves, sandals, things belonging to many of her tenants. "That is my blouse," one woman shouted. "And those are my slippers," Amaka cried. The tenants looked at Madam Dorcas with shock and anger. Tears filled their eyes. "You are the one doing this to us," someone asked. Madam Dorcas forced her news. "I am sorry," she cried. "The native doctor told me to bring people's belongings for rituals. He said it will make me rich." The tenants were heartbroken. The woman they trusted had been using them for evil. Pastor Daniel raised his hands again. "Tonight, every evil power in this compound will end," he said. He began to pray with a great power. The tenants joined him. The prayers filled the compound. Mama Dorcas sat on the ground crying as the truth of her wickedness was finally exposed. From that night, everything changed. The tenants later forced Madam Dorcas to leave the compound. Pastor Daniel continued praying for them. Slowly, peace returned to the compound. The strange problem stopped, and the tenants never forgot the nights when the hidden darkness was finally brought into the light. The compound was finally turned into a church where worshippers come from far distance